Dear listeners, some of you have already been listening to Fighters Brew from our Patreon or Substack. Those of you who have will know Alexander Buckner. Not only did he contribute to the voice performances, but gave me feedback on my scripts. He's been a contributor and collaborator for Southpaw for years under various aliases, from Alex Buckner, your boy Lex, Hannibal Lennon Buckman, Avon Marksdale, R.N. Allday, Alex D. Xander, and I Made This to Stand. He's like pro wrestler Mick Foley, with all the various gimmicks. And like Mick, Alex is also a Hall of Famer, but for Southpaw. Whenever I reference the Southpaw Project, you'll always hear me say we or us. Alex was part of that we and us. He is Southpaw. Even with Liberation Martial Arts, he left an indelible footprint. I talk to Alex every day. He was one of my best friends. But sometime after my last conversation with him, he passed away in his sleep. Everyone, his family most of all, was devastated. Knowing Alex improved so many of our lives. He was our support system, and we got so used to that, we sometimes didn't even notice. You just got so used to him checking in on you. I and everyone he has touched will miss him. Alex was an artist, performer, writer, dungeon master, martial artist, friend, brother, uncle, and son. But even though Alex is gone, I have hours of Alex recordings for Fighters Brew. We even had several conversations about potential projects after Fighters Brew. I still have those chats. I still have those recordings, almost all of which his close friends and family have never heard. Much of it that's never been released. We were working on season 2 when he passed. But in speaking to his close friends and his brother William, since they never got to hear Alex on Fighters Brew, nor were they even aware he has spent the past year working on it, I'm unlocking all of season 1 and will be releasing it weekly. After that, I'll unlock every episode of season 2 until we get to the last recordings of Alex. But rather than Alex being part of an incomplete project, I plan to finish this project and dedicate it to Alex and his family. I'll never be able to fill his shoes, but he's already left a blueprint for me to follow, so I'll just follow it just the way he showed me. It's no surprise he didn't tell people about this project. That's Alex. He centers you and rarely makes it about himself, even when he's hurting. This is part of why he had so many aliases. He didn't care if he got all the credit for the kindness he showed others. So many people are now realizing that nice person on the internet was Alex. May he rest in peace and power and be granted all the grace he deserved but never got in this life. I hope you all enjoyed Fighters Brew just as much as Alex and I enjoyed making it. It was a lot of fun. We felt like kids again. I know he's proud of our work, and I hope that this can stand as a small part of his legacy for his family and friends. In doing Fighters Brew, I was able to capture Alex being Alex. But now everyone else will be able to enjoy Alex as much as I have. I Made This to Stand was a social media account he made just to stand others. But I like to say I'm an Alex stan. And I know there are other Alex stans and more stans to come. I know he'd want this out there, and he'd want me to finish this project and continue with the other projects we discuss, and that's what I'll do. Thanks to all the fans who made this project possible, and I hope you continue to follow Southpaw, which I know ended up becoming a big part of Alex's life. The Southpaw community is about love, compassion, and liberation, and so much of that is the influence of Alex. He put so much of himself into this wacky, nerdy, liberatory martial arts project. It's wild how perfect this project was for Alex and how Alex was perfect for this project. Fighters Brew is dedicated to Alexander Buckner. Love you and miss you, comrade.
If you don't already know what Fighters Brew is, it's the newest project from Southpaw and is a recap show of the manga All-Rounder Megaru. Check out our introductory episode for more information about All-Rounder Megaru and this project. We'll have a link in the show notes. But keep in mind this series takes place in 2008 Japan. If you're part of the Liberation Martial Arts program or a higher Patreon tier, you'll also get transcripts of each episode with pictures and more explanations of the techniques and concepts, along with LMA commentary. Fighters Brew will be a fun and engaging way to learn concepts from our curriculum. Manga has now entered the discourse. All-Rounder Megaru was created by Hiroki Endo. Fighters Brew is written and produced by Sam. Narrated by Alexander Buckner. Fighters Brew, Episode 1. Megaru Takayanagi thinks back. In Class 4 of Grade 5, Takashi Sagawa was something of an outcast. He barely talked and had a melancholy to him. His grandfather ran a small karate dojo where Takashi studied. After transferring schools in April, my dad made me start taking lessons. For some reason, Takashi and I got along. But thinking back, it might have been because both of us didn't have our moms. After my mom passed away, my dad left my sister and me with his mom, our grandmother, since he had to go overseas for work all the time. My sister was already in high school and became like my mom. Takashi would come over to our house to play a lot. "Your dad works overseas too, Takashi-kun?" Megaru's sister said. "Same as us. You should stay for dinner tonight," she said as she walked to the kitchen. "Your house sure is lively," Takashi said. "It's only Grandpa and me at my place." In the kitchen, Megaru's grandmother was making rice. "How long's that boy gonna be here?" she asked. "Send him home." "Grandma, you don't have to be so rude," Megaru's sister said. "All that talk about working overseas is a lie. That boy's father was always a hooligan. Eventually, he got mixed up with the Yakuza and had to skip town. Because of that, his wife left him too. She was always a loose girl anyhow." Megaru's sister was stunned. That comment was for her. Megaru and Takashi were fishing in the river. Takashi was taller than Megaru, with longer hair and sad, mistrusting eyes. Megaru had short hair and curious eyes. He looked like he was always daydreaming. They were the same, but different. As Megaru was opening the tackle box, 3 older boys came by and kicked it over. "Hey, Takayanagi," an older boy with a cap said. "I heard you started doing karate." Megaru thinks back. There were times like this, when guys who thought they were tough picked fights with us. But it was forbidden to use karate outside of the dojo. "Let's go," Takashi said to Megaru. "Did you know, Takayanagi?" the boy with the cap said. "The reason Sagawa doesn't have a mom is because she ran off with some guy." "Takayanagi, you don't have a mom either? No wonder you two are friends. You both have slutty moms." My body moved on its own, Megaru remembers. Megaru delivered a lunging right body punch to the boy. The older boy grabbed Megaru's shirt and delivered a headbutt to his nose, drawing blood. Another boy punched Takashi. The third boy watched, not knowing what to do. Not wanting to jump in, but not wanting to stop the fight either. Such is often the case in conflict. There's often a bystander. Thinking back, Megaru remembers, compared to half-hearted karate, guys who were used to fighting were stronger. Plus, they were older. Meguru and Takashi were bloodied on the ground. I want to get stronger, Takashi said. Then people won't push me around. Meguru thinks back. I heard somewhere that true strength comes from money and power. The next day, at the dojo, Sensei, Takashi's grandfather, said to a bruised and battered Takashi and Meguru, I forbid you two from retaliating. Rather, you must become men who someday will be respected by the ones who hit you. That is true strength. I didn't understand back then, Meguru remembers. 3 months later, I fought in a karate competition, but lost my first match by decision. Takashi also lost his first fight to the last competition's champion. He was so frustrated he cried. You just had bad luck getting pitted against such a strong fighter, Meguru said. How? Takashi asked Meguru. Even though you lost too? How can you still smile? Meguru remembers. He hated losing more than me. To him, it was the worst thing in the world. Sometime later, 3 rough-looking men in cheap suits barged into the dojo. One had a scar. Another wore sunglasses. The oldest had slicked hair. Outsiders aren't permitted, Sensei told them. Pardon us. We'll be leaving shortly, the man with slicked hair said. He was the boss. Koichi Sagawa. He's your son, is he not, Sensei? He asked. I disowned him years ago, Sensei said. Yes, I'm aware of that. If he happens to show himself, would you mind giving us a call? The man handed Sensei a business card. The man walked over to Takashi. Say, boy, leave him out of this, Sensei interrupted. Get out. The 3 men left. Hey, the man with the slicked hair said to the one with the scar. Keep tabs on the kid, too. The seasons had changed. Fall was here. Meguru and his sister were looking for their grandfather. Grandpa, Meguru's sister called. My grandfather's dementia progressed, and he started to wander off on his own, Meguru remembers. A week later, he fell from a bridge in the middle of the night and died. Then shortly before I entered the 6th grade, I had to transfer again. I'll see you off, Takashi told Meguru. Thanks, Meguru said. On their path was a disheveled man in a suit. Takashi, the man said. Mind if we talk? Sorry, Meguru, Takashi said. Meguru watched Takashi walk away with the man. You're learning karate from Grandpa? The man said. Uh-huh. But he says not to use it in a fight. He never told me anything like that. Rather, he called it fight karate and would whoop my ass whenever I lost. By the time I hit middle school, I ruled this town. I was unbeatable. But I ended up dropping out of school due to my fighting. Then my life got all messed up. I moved to Tokyo to make a living off karate and laid waste to competition after competition. To be honest, I got carried away. Then I got injured and quit. Before I knew it, I was Yakuza. And a chump at that. No wonder your mom split. Takashi looked away, sad. Takashi, don't become like me. That's all I wanted to say. Take care. Takashi didn't say a word as he watched his father, Koichi Sagawa, walk away. When Koichi got to his car, the man with slicked hair shot Koichi with a tranquilizer gun. Long time no see, Koichi. You, Koichi said. I understand you want to start a fresh life, the man with slicked hair said. But you can't do that with someone else's money. Koichi fell unconscious. The two other men grabbed Koichi and put him in his car. "Well, I do pity you," the man with slicked hair said. "But we're obligated to set things right." The police found Koichi's car down a hill, smashed into a tree. Koichi was dead. Sensei identified the body at the hospital. "There's no mistake. He's my son," he told the examiner. Sensei came out of the exam room. Takashi was sitting alone on a bench, waiting. So young and small. Sensei sat next to him and held his grandson. They both cried. Later, the man with slicked hair was taking care of some final business. Takashi was running. Meguru and his sister and grandmother were getting on the train. "It doesn't look like he's coming," Meguru's sister said. "Yeah," Meguru said as he looked for his friend. Takashi ran as fast as he could. It was snowing. Winter was here. Takashi saw the man with slicked hair getting into a car. Takashi ran harder. On the train, Meguru's sister offered Meguru a soda, but Meguru's mind was somewhere else. Takashi was running to his father's killer. "What's your problem, kid?" said the man with sunglasses. Takashi leapt at him and smashed his sunglasses into his face with a flying knee. Takashi punched the next man with a kneeling reverse punch to the groin. Another man tackled Takashi. He sat on his chest and mount and pounded Takashi's face. "That's enough," Koichi's killer said. "I'm gonna kill this kid," the man with sunglasses said as he pulled out a knife. Koichi's killer held him back. "Knock it off," he said. "Don't lose your cool over a kid." Koichi's killer looked down at a bloodied Takashi. "Here to get revenge for your old man?" he asked. Takashi, with defiant eyes, remained silent. "I'll be in Tokyo. Come see me when you get stronger." Koichi's killer and his men drove off. It was snowing at the dojo. Sensei was meditating. Takashi came, once again, bruised and battered. "Grandpa, teach me how to be strong," he said. Sensei thought for a minute. "Thoughtless strength only leads to self-destruction. If you truly want to be stronger, then you mustn't seek revenge." It kept snowing.